Good morning, dear students. Let's begin our social science class. It's my video number 2 of geography. In continuation with NCERT chapter 1 resources and development, the content for today will be resource planning and the land utilization. Now, what do you mean by resource planning? Planning is widely accepted strategy for judicious use of resources. For using the resources in a judicious way, the first and major solution is planning. It has importance in a country like India, where has enormous diversity in availability of resources. These are the regions which are rich in certain type of resources but are deficient in some other resources. So in order to combat with these needs, there should be an equal distribution of the resources in the whole country. There are some regions which can be considered self-sufficient in terms of availability of resources, and there are some regions which have acute shortage of some vital resources. For example, now to take the examples, the states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh are rich in minerals and coal deposits. Means their minerals and coal deposits are in excess. Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water resources but lacks the infrastructural development. Now you can see Arunachal Pradesh is not that developed because its infrastructure is very poor. The state of Rajasthan is very well endowed with the solar and wind energy but lacks in water resources. The cold desert of Ladakh is relatively isolated from the rest of the country. It has very rich cultural heritage but it is deficient in water infrastructure and some other vital minerals. This calls for balanced resource planning at the national, state and regional local levels. So as we see that different parts of our India have different types of resources, and some other resources are deficient in those regions. So there should be a national compromise that should be made in the different regions so that every region get equal amount of resources in order to develop. The availability of resources is necessary condition for development of any region, but mere availability of resources in the absence of corresponding changes in technology and institution may hinder development. Means if available or resources are available, that is necessary for the development, but if the availability of resources is in the absence of corresponding change in technology and institution is there, then this will be not including in development. There are many regions in our country that are rich in resource, but these are included in economically backward region. Either the people do not have much knowledge of those resources, or the technology is not much that pronounced in those areas, so that they can access these resources. On the contrary, there are some regions which have poor resource base, but they are economically developed. You can see Japan. It does not have many of the resources, yet it is a developed nation because of the people, their education. That human itself becomes a resource, and in the absence of the natural resources, Japan has created such artificial resources, those can be replaced with the natural resources. Can you name some resource rich but economically backward region and some resource poor but economically developed regions, and give reason for such a situation? So our country will be in our first situation, and the second situation will be applicable for Japan. The history of colonization reveals that rich resources in colonies were the main attraction for foreign invaders. In our country like India, many natural resources were present at that time and were abundant, so that was a main attraction of those foreign invaders. It was primarily the higher level of technological development of colonizing countries that help them to exploit resources of other region and establish their supremacy over the colonies. Therefore, resources can be contributed to development only when they are accompanied by appropriate technological development and institutional changes. India has experienced all this in different phases of colonization. Therefore, in India, development in general resource and the resource development in particular does not involve the availability of resources, but also technology, quality of human resource and historical experience of people. Now let's see conservation of resources. Resources are vital for any development activity, this we all know, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resources may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems, because if we are not consuming it in a designed way or in a planned way, then it will lead to its degradation. To overcome these problems, resource conservation at various levels is important. This has been the main concern for leaders and thinkers in past. Now, for example, Gandhiji was very apt in voicing his concern about resource conservation in these words, that there is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. He placed the greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative nature of the modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. If such a technology is developed which can access a resource at a very high rate, this will lead to degradation. And such selfish individuals which degrade the resources, it will lead to depletion of the resources at very earlier times. He was against mass production and wanted to replace it with a production by masses. Now this is very important line. Mahatma Gandhi said that he does not want that mass production should be done, means the production of resources should not be done in a very large amount. Instead it should be replaced by production by masses, means many people should be involved in the development of the country. At international level, the Club of Rome advocated resource conservation for the first time in a more systematic way in 1968. Subsequently, in 1974, Gandhian philosophy was once again presented by Schumacher in his book Small is Beautiful. The seminal contribution with respect to resource conservation at global level was made by Brundtland Commission report in 1987, and this report introduced the concept of sustainable development and advanced it means that for resource conservation, which was subsequently published in a book entitled Our Common Future. Another significant contribution was made at Earth, that was the summit at Rio de Janeiro, which we already studied. Now let's see the land resources. We live on land. We perform our economic activity on land and we use it in different ways. Thus, land is a natural resource for utmost importance. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activity, transport, communication systems. So that is why land is very important for us. However, land is an asset too of finite magnitude. Therefore, it is important to use available land for various purposes with careful planning. We know land is not unlimited. There is an end to the land resource also. Therefore, for using it, we should plan carefully first. India has land under a variety of relief features like mountain, plateau, plain and island. About 43% of land area is plain, which provide facility for agriculture and industry, as can be seen from this graph. The blue portion represents the plain, where industries are set up, cultivation is done. Mountain account for 30% of total surface area of country and ensure perennial flow of some rivers, provide facilities for tourism and ecological aspects. So tourism and the river flow is very important in mountain, which constitute about 30% of our country. About 27% of area of country is the plateau region. It possesses rich reserve of mineral, fossil fuel and forest. So there it is of use. We do not say that it is of no use. It also has fossil fuels, minerals and are also rich in forest. That's why we can say that how the land resources are distributed in a country like India. Now here this blue part represents the plain, red mountain and plateau 27%, that is in minority, whereas plain is in majority. Land utilization. Land resources are used for following purpose. Now for what things we use land? This is an important 5-mark question. First, for forest, we know that forests are grown on the land itself, that is occurring naturally. So land is utilized for the forest, for that is the first point. Land not available for cultivation. If the land is not available for cultivation, we use as a barren or wasteland. Land put to non-agricultural use like building, road, factories are set up if it is not used in cultivation. Other uncultivated land excluding the fallow land. Permanent pastures and grazing land means if we are not having uncultivated land, then these are as pasture and grazing lands. These are land under miscellaneous tree crops, groves. These are not included in net zone area, means we grow many trees. These are not included in crops. Cultural waste land, that is left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. Now fallow lands. Current fallow, that is left without cultivation for 1 or less than 1 agricultural year. And the second is the other than current fallow, that is left uncultivated for the past 1 to 5 agricultural years. Now net sown area, that is the area sown more than once in an agricultural year and including gross cropped area, that is the net sown area. Now we'll see that how the land is used in our India, land use pattern in India. The use of land is determined both by physical factors like topography, climate, soil type, as well as human factors such as population, density, technological capability and culture and tradition, etc. So this is a general use category of land, and see how it is over here. The forest is about 18.11%. Then the barren and unculturable wasteland, that is 18.11. Again, these both are in same contribution. Area under non-agricultural activities include 4.95%. Then the permanent pasture grazing land include 4.71%. Then area under miscellaneous tree crops or groves, these include 1.50%. Then cultivable wasteland includes 6.23%. Fallow other than current fallow, that includes 3.5%. Current fallow is 3.73%, and net sown area is 46.26%. So this is the land utilization in our country. Now let's read. Total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometer. Land use data, however, is only available for 93% of total geographical area. Now why? Why not full 100%? Because the land use reporting for most of the northeast states except Assam has not been done fully, because these are occupied by tribal people and many more other people. Moreover, some area of Jammu Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been surveyed. The land under permanent pasture has also decreased. How are we able to feed our huge cattle population on this pasture land, and what are the consequences of it? Most of the other than the current fallow land are either of poor quality, or the cost of cultivation of such land is very high. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 to 3 years, and if these are not these are included in the net sown area, then the percentage of net sown area in India comes out to be 54% of total reporting area. So first case we saw here, that is, if grazing lands, these are not very nutritious, having not very nutritious soil, then in 1 to 2 years we plant one time the crops over here, and these are included that time, about 54% it contribute. The pattern of net sown area varies greatly from one state to another. It is over 80% of total area in Punjab and Haryana, and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now you can see in Punjab and Haryana about 80% of land is used for crop cultivation. Now find out the reasons for low proportion of net sown area in these states. This can be due to the lack of interest of people, or it can be due to the poor nutritional quality of soil, or it can be due to the soil which is unfit due to its more humus content or less humus content, or it can be occupied by mountain plateaus. So there will be many reasons for it. Forest area in country is far lower than desired 33% of geographical area, as it was outlined in National Forest Policy of 1952. It was considered essential for maintenance of ecological balance, and the livelihood of millions of people who live on the fringes of these forests depend upon it. A part of land is termed as wasteland and land put to other non-agricultural uses. Wasteland include, now what type of wasteland are there in our country? Rocky, arid, desert areas, and land put to other non-agricultural use include settlement, road, railway and industry. So these are the two ways how we can use the wastelands. Continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking appropriate measure to conserve and manage it has resulted in land degradation in our country. This in turn has serious repercussions on the society and the environment. Now let's discuss land degradation and conservation measure. Now how the land degradation in India took place and what are the conservation for this? This is an important question. We have shared our land with the past generation, and we will have to do with the future generations also. 95% of our basic need for food, shelter and clothing are obtained from land. This we all know. Human activity have not only brought about degradation of land but have also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to land. Some human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, quarrying to have contributed significantly in the land degradation. So this is important 5-mark question, that how human activities affect the land. Now from here our answer starts. Mining sites are abandoned after excavation work is complete, leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. So there are scars and traces at some places like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, and their deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. The second point is, in states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, overgrazing. Overgrazing means when we graze the cattle, that is a grazing, but when the cattle are grazed more than a limit, it is overgrazing. is one of the main reasons for land degradation. Third point, in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation. Now irrigation means to provide the water to land. Now if it is in excess, it is responsible for land degradation due to water logging, leading to increase in salinity and alkalinity on the soil. Fourth point, the mineral processes like grinding of limestone of cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry generate a huge dust in the atmosphere. It retards the process of infiltration of water into the soil and it settles down on the land, and it makes the soil of low nutritional quality and it does not allow the water to be absorbed in the soil. In recent years, industrial effluents, now this is the fifth point, as waste have become a major source of land and water pollution in many parts of the country. The waste effluents of industry are thrown over here and there, which cause the land and water degradation. Now, the another important 5-mark question is that how to conserve land degradation. There are many ways to solve problems of land degradation. Justify the statement. Now we will start. First point, afforestation and proper management of grazing can help to some extent. First point is afforestation means to plant more and more trees, and the second will be proper management of grazing so that the cattle are grazed in a limited amount and the proper management is done. Third point will be planting of shelter belts of plants, control on overgrazing. Now if we are planting a huge amount of plants as a shelter belt, it will control overgrazing. The fourth point is stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods to check land degradation in arid areas. Now we are growing the thorny bushes also around the dunes. This will also stabilize the sand dunes and it will not allow the soil to erode. Proper management of waste, land control of mining activity, proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluent and waste after treatment can reduce land and water degradation. This whole will include the fifth point, that is the industrial effluent should be controlled and managed properly and suburban areas. So we have discussed today land degradation, we have discussed how we can conserve it, we also discussed that how the land is utilized in our India and how much land is available in our India. In addition to that, we also saw that what was the Gandhiji's act and what did Gandhiji say, then how the resource planning in India took place. So these are the all things that we have discussed today in our class. That's all for today, students. Tomorrow we'll be discussing with soil as a resource. Thank you and have a nice day.